Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Bad Dentist here. I want to go over a build guide um, for something I've been cooking up over the past couple of days. This is a build guide for my crit deck stacking javelin forge guard. I will come up with some fancy name for it in the thumbnail, but let's go ahead and just dive straight in, okay? So let's start with the passives. So number one, we did our mastery chosen as forge guard. But starting with Sentinel, max out Juggernaut, 1 point Fearless, 1 point Stalwart. We want the block chance here. And then we put 5 points for health gain on block. That is another source of sustain that we'll have when we're blocking all the time. Armor clad, of course, gotta take it. DR and flat armor. And of course, cooldown recovery speed for movement skills and the flat health is beneficial as well. In the Paladin tree, max out Conviction. Take 3 points here in Honor to get that 3% block chance. 4 points in Defiance. That will take you to Symbols of Hope. If you have room to take 1 point and add it here, do so. You want, but this build is working fine with just 4 points in it without that extra endurance threshold. And once you get 15 points to unlock Symbols of Hope, come straight to Forge Guard. Max out Weapon Master, 1 point apiece in these nodes, 5 points apiece. And these nodes. This gives us the benefit of this node is really the block effectiveness. This one up here is crit multi and crit chance with a two-handed weapon. You'll put 3 points down here for flat armor. Actually, to unlock the 3% block chance and the block effectiveness and armor is really good too. I put 1 point here because I got confused, but that other point should be here. But if you want to put it here, why not? There's nothing really bad about it. Over here, you want to put 10 points immediately into Iron Reflexes. Since we're deck stacking, this is going to take your dodge rating, convert it into armor, and this is it. This is part of the core of our survivability on top of the healing and health reach. You'll then take 4 points here to unlock this node. So between these two nodes, we have increased crit chance. Over here, we get crit multi, and then the 4 points unlocks throwing crit chance per 5 decks. This is crucial in helping us crit cap throwing attack crit chance. Since we're stacking decks, that's pretty much plus 20% base crit chance. Insane. Coming over here, you're taking this so you can equip the Seerpin Spear that you get from killing exiled mages. Down here, we take strength and increased health because they give us armor. They give us damage because Javelin scales off dexterity and strength. This is a wonderful node. Flat armor with a shield. We take it. Max out points for Walls of Solarum. It is 10% damage reduction and plus 3 block chance. Over here, grab Master of Arms. So we get Frailty, we get Source of Strength, and we also get additional reduced bonus damage taken from crits. So all in all, the points that you're taking in this build are going to be focusing on converting decks, getting crit chance, getting crit multi, leveraging strength when we can, and damage reduction. So now, let's go to the skills. So we're using Javelin, Smite, Lunge, Symbols of Hope, and Shield Growth. Starting with Javelin, the crucial nodes for you are going to be reduce the mana cost. You want to have 1 point here, and if not 1 to 2 points here, you're going to want to take this more damage multiplier node up here, and you're going to want to max out Monster Piercer. So the rest of it, you put points where you can. There's more damage multipliers just scattered everywhere, based on enemies' pierce, based on how far away you are. We're actually up close and personal a lot of times because we're lunging and killing things right next to us. So the distance one, maybe not as beneficial. I took 1 point just to get a minimum bonus at damage. Lunge, this is going to give us 100% block chance on top of our character's sheet block chance. So you, in theory, could get 200% plus block chance. This synergizes directly with Shield Throw and gives us a crazy more multiplier, like 200% more damage. We also get Invulnerability. You're going to want to spec all the way over here to get an additional lunge charge. You're also going to want to spec into javelin being used after lunging, and you're going to want smite to be casting upon lunge for more sustain, and immobilizing doesn't hurt either. Moving right along to the smite, since we talked about it now, we spec into a healing and attack speed buff setup here. So we're getting additional healing from smite. We're also getting a larger healing area, as well as cleanse chance. This node is very important. This is actually why I took smite, in combination with adorned idols that cast smite when you hit with a throwing attack. This is the only source of cleanse ailment chance that I could figure out that's consistent, other than slamming cleanse negative ailments on a belt using the affix. You can do that, and if you're going to do that, replace smite with Ring of Shields. And there will be an alternate setup. I'm not going to cover it here because this I found is the most consistent setup since we're always hitting with throw attacks. So I would actually speed rush straight to this, do your healing, and then finish up with your attack speed. Symbols of Hope, pretty typical setup, except in this case, we're going straight over here to get block chance per active symbol. And of course, we're taking the additional symbol nodes, and then leftover points. We come over here, we get additional damage per active sigil. And if you want to add some crit chance in here, you can. I don't think it's necessary, but it'll definitely ensure that you get crit capped. Now, Shield Throw, this is kind of a hidden gem and kind of the sidekick to Javelin. What you're going to want to do is spec initially down here. You want to rush straight to Colossus. This is going to give you increased armor per stack. We reach 20 stacks, so that's 100% increased armor. And we're also going to get 40% physical pen, which is very, very good. You're going to want to then spec all the way over here for your sustain. We will get additional ricochets, and we also get health gain per 2 decks. So since we're rocking about 100 decks or more, that's about 100 HP per shield throw hit. It's really nice. We're coming back this way, we get health leech, reduced mana cost. This node up here gives us additional ricochets, which means additional sustain, which is very, very good. Now coming up here, this is where we not only turn it from a buff skill and a sustain skill, but to a damage dealer. So coming up here, we increase the base crit chance, and we get crit multi per 40 block effectiveness. Now we're sitting at 1677 block effectiveness. You divide that by 40, that is essentially 400. Is that 40%? Is that 400 more crit multi? I guess so, maybe. Maybe I'm doing something wrong here. No, it's 40% more crit multi. Sorry, Jesus. Anyways, correct the math if you want. I don't care. Coming up here, though, the block chance synergy is absolutely bonkers. So this node will give you 50% more damage based off your block chance. You come over here, you get an additional 100%. Basically, your block chance equals 100% more damage. So remember, with Lunge, it's 100% block chance when you lunge on top of whatever your character's block chance is. So you can have 200% more damage multiplier going on your shield throw as you lunge. The only downside is negative 20% all res, but that's okay because our resistances are pretty good. All right, so let's talk about the gear. So on the gear, the helmet, I went with Peak of the Mountain. We're trying to get crit capped. The all attributes, increased critical strike chance, and of course, T7 slam for dex because that's what we're stacking. The amulet, I like going with Bleeding Heart because of the leech and because it's very common and it's fairly easy to get 2 to 3 LP on this. You're going to want at least a T7 throwing damage, and preferably crit multi and dodge rate. I got void resistance, which actually is beneficial for the build, but ideally you want throwing damage, crit multi, dodge rating. The shield, this is one of those build critical shields. Well, I take that back. This build can work, but it won't have the automation of retaliation with shield throw, which is what we actually want. So this is the best in slot shield. I would say if you're not concerned about retaliation shots or plus the shield throw, you could use a Bastion of Honor, since we do have a decent amount of strength, and that would actually help with your block effectiveness. But I found that this is the best balance between damage and defense right here. Festin slot for defense and sustain is no important, but do not think that you have to gear this character up with gear that is gate kept by Aberoth or an Uber Aberoth kill. It's not necessary. You can absolutely have great success with a Kestrel. Just get Dex, dodge rating slams on it, armor with reduced bonus damage from crits, but mainly get the Dex stat on the chest piece. So I recommend Kestrel or this as a good body armor, and Kestrel's super common. The weapon, this is build critical. This drops from the Exiled Mages. Essentially what it's doing is it's causing Javelin to pierce from the first enemy that it hits, and every 12 decks we get additional spears. Since we're deck stacking, that's a lot more spears. And it also rolls with incredible stats. Now be careful, some of these stat ranges can be very crappy, so you want to try to do, you might have to farm this for a while. So you might have to spec your Weaver tree out to focus on Exiled Mage farming, along with your prophecies. The slam on this, get a T7 crit multi. I only had T6 at the time, but it proved out to be sufficient. So yeah, I would say if you want this build to start off, if you had to say what is the minimum gear for this build to work, Searpins, Peak of the Mountain, and I would say this shield, but really it's Searpins and Peak of the Mountain and the best shield you can get. Ideally, this with a T7 block chance. Moving on to the belt, this here is defensively the best choice. I missed the dodge rating roll, which I would have loved to have, but you do want T7 throwing damage and dodge rating on this ideally, but at minimum the throwing damage. This comes with a very big base increased dodge rating, which is just fantastic for us. You can go, the best in slot for I think overall damage would be Jungle Queens, and of course with the same stats rolled on it, dodge rating, percent dodge rating, throw damage. You could probably even throw in, you could use a fortification, suffix as well. But I preferred using this. It seemed to yield the best defense. Rings, this is the perfect combination and base for this. This is the best in slot. Now, I will say rocking 2 of these with this particular setup, it is very hard to sustain your mana. So I would suggest looking for this ring with the T6 or T7 throwing attack speed, and then on the other opal ring, having the -5 throwing attack cost being the T7, and then the throwing attack speed being T5. You at minimum need -8 throwing attack mana cost, so -4s will work too. I happen to pick a -5 throwing attack mana cost that had throwing attack speed, and over here that throwing attack speed minus mana cost. That helps us get below like 5.6 or 6 mana cost. At like 6 mana cost on this, it starts really becoming hard to sustain your mana. So ideally you want to get this as low as possible. So at least -8 throwing attack mana cost in total on your rings. For the gloves, I had great success and even killed, I think I killed Uber Abbey with these gloves. So I would say that the most attainable best in slot, Swaddling of the Erased, with a good roll of throwing attack speed, hope for some dex or strength. The rest of it, who knows, whatever it wants to give. These gloves are amazing. They give quite a bit of damage, and they're really easy to get. Downside, it's gambling. Best in slot, defensively, is you want a 2 LP Immortal Vice. Yes, I know that sounds nuts, but with the Voidborn Nemesis, I was able to get the 2 LP. This rolled with 2 beneficial stats. Most important stat for us being the T7 throwing attack speed. Because keep in mind our passives and nodes in our skills are going to reduce that attack speed. Hands down, best in slot for boots, Blood of the Exile. I wanted the T6 movement speed. I had some insane exalted boots for this. I wanted the T6 movement speed and T7 dex, but we ended up with the T6 health and T7 dex. Perfectly fine, both benefit the build. I'm not concerned about the lack of movement speed because our lunge stays up quite a bit. So we're a little slower. We're not the fastest sipping through echoes, but we are very consistent. As far as relic, best in slot would be a decently rolled Shattered Worlds with a +4 to Javelin. However, I'm aware that this is gatekept behind an Uber Aberoth kill. So you might be saying, well, damn, the build doesn't work, right? No. I would say the best in slot and most attainable second to the best in slot for damage and whatnot with Shattered Worlds is going to be the Erase Sentinel Relic. You can run Prophecies to get a bunch of these. You set your Weaver tree up for it too, I believe, but you want +4 to Javelin on this or a +4 to Javelin on the Shattered Worlds. I've used both. Um, they both yield, they're both great for the build. This one here is very defensive. You can make an argument that this is best in slot. So do what you can. If you can get a +4 to Javelin slammed on this, bravo. You've got definitely the best in slot. If not, there's a good chance you can get one of these. Moving on to the blessings, they're pretty standard. I'm COF, so we went with experience, crit multi, definitely went with the health regen. You're going to be tempted to roll mana. Don't do it. Do health regen. You need to out heal the damage that's coming in because you're relying on block chance and DR and whatnot. You want to just get as much sustain as possible, and here's another source of it. Over here, 20% all res. If you feel like you need crit strike avoidance, you can pick that as well. If you think you can solve your resistance situation with your idols, but I picked this because I like it. I could go crit strike avoidance. It's all up to you. Down here, I do recommend going with flat armor and the percentage increased armor. Idols. You want at least one keen adorned idol, preferably with a health roll in the suffix or a bulwark with a decent roll for block effectiveness. Remember, we are kind of suffering on the block effectiveness part. So I personally would want a 25% chance to cast a smite with a high rolled bulwark suffix. I have 2 in here. If your resistances aren't a problem, then you can throw 4 in here if you want, but these are very sufficient for keeping us healed and sustained. The rest of these are used for resistances, dodge rating, armor, vitality, health regen, just health, armor, sustain, dodge. Okay, so coming up next, you're going to see an Abby kill and a T4 Jewelry kill. I had gameplay, but the audio is absolutely crazy, and I don't feel like doing all this crazy editing. So, just trust me, it works great in Echoes. Okay, the corruption level on this, I'm at 300 right now. It can easily reach 500 corruption. So, I'm a chill coaster. I don't really corruption push. I want to be able to kill Abby at least and hit at least 300 corruption. We've been able to do so, and we've been able to do so without it being a meta build. And even though there are some expensive pieces, once you get to the aspirational gear, you do not need a Mortal Vice or Null Portent to get this build running. You can use a Swaddling or a glove that has throwing attack speed on it. The Raucous Claws would be really good for damage, and of course you could use a Kestrel. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the build guide, enjoy the Abby kill, and if you like what you've seen, subscribe, hit the button, touch my button. And we stream almost every day. We're on Twitch, bad_dentist. See you guys later. Bye.